This short film's about The Boy with the Top Knot, which is a book I wrote 2 or 3 years ago. I'm basically doing in the film what I did in the book, in that I'm going back to my past in 1980s Wolverhampton, and I'm trying to integrate the two elements of my life, my working life in London and my family life in Wolverhampton. Throughout my 20s, I deliberately set up this barrier between my home life and my London life, and had this semi-successful career in London as a media columnist and so on. I also had a very traditional Sikh family. The way I dealt with it is I never let the two mix at all. And I think that extended to not even thinking about my past, because whenever I did think about my past, I found it's a bit like having vertigo, because it was so different from the world I was living in and enjoying. I felt sick and I just couldn't make sense of it. I had to write the book for my own self, I think. The book has made all of us appreciate each other much more. It's made what we've been through, our story and our relationships, much more transparent. I grew up in a very inner city area of Wolverhampton, but we moved to a suburb when I was about 11. I couldn't speak English until I was, I think, about 5 or 6. The first day I went to school, didn't know a word, didn't understand a word the teachers were saying. It's interesting how I've gone from not being able to speak English to it being my life and being a writer, and now actually struggling quite a lot with Punjabi, because all the Punjabi I have is from my mother and my father, basically. But increasingly I find that I've got a limited vocabulary, and my cousins and my siblings often laugh at the way I speak Punjabi. I find it quite frustrating sometimes, you know. And I think my mum just thinks I'm a bit dim because my vocabulary is so limited. Yeah. You feel different if you speak a different language. And I think quite a few bilingual people say that. You just feel like a different person. I come from such a large Sikh family, and I've got 54 first cousins, and pretty much all of them had gone along with convention and had an arranged marriage. And I spent about 10 years going along with emotions and having these endless arranged marriage meetings. But at the same time, I had this secret life away from my family where I was having illicit relationships with non-Sikh girls.
ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਸੋਚਦੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਵੀ ਸਤਨਾਮ ਕਿਸੇ ਹੋਰ ਪਾਸੇ ਨਾਲ ਵਿਆਹ ਜਾਂ ਹੋਰ ਕਿਸੇ ਰਿਲੀਜਨ ਨਾਲ ਨਾ ਵਿਆਹ ਕਰਾ ਲਵੇ। ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਜੱਟ ਸਿੱਖ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਵਿਆਹ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ, ਰਿਲੀਜਨ ਵੀ ਜੱਟ ਸਿੱਖ ਹੋਵੇ। ਬਹੁਤ ਸਟਿਕ ਰਹੀ ਮੈਂ ਇਹਦੇ 'ਤੇ। ਅਤੇ ਯੂਨੀਵਰਸਿਟੀ ਵੀ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਸੀ, ਸਤਨਾਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੈਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਨਾ ਹੀ ਆ, ਵਿਆਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਰਿਲੀਜਨ 'ਚ ਹੋਵੇ। ਬਾਅਦ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਇਹਨੇ ਮੇਰੀ ਰਿਸਪੈਕਟ ਕੀਤੀ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੁਛ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਪੈਣ ਦਿੱਤਾ, ਮੇਰੇ 'ਤੇ ਪ੍ਰੈਸ਼ਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਾਇਆ। ਪਰ ਫਿਰ ਜਦ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਚਿੱਠੀ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਆ, ਚਿੱਠੀ ਮੈਂ ਪੜ੍ਹੀ ਆ, ਪੜ੍ਹ ਕੇ ਫਿਰ ਮੈਂ ਉਹ ਚਿੱਠੀ ਨੂੰ ਫੀਲ ਕੀਤਾ ਬਈ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਦੇ ਮੁੰਡੇ 'ਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਟਿਕ ਹਾਂ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ। ਇਹਦੀ ਵੀ ਲਾਈਫ ਵਾ, ਇਹਨੇ ਕੋਈ ਗਲਤ ਕੰਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਲਾਈਫ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਗੱਲ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛ ਕੇ ਕਰਦਾ ਰਿਹਾ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਦਾ ਰਿਹਾ। ਅਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਮੈਂ ਐਂਡ 'ਤੇ ਕਹਿ ਤਾ ਵੀ ਤੂੰ ਹੁਣ ਤੇਰੀ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਆ, ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਤੇਰਾ ਜੀਅ ਕਰਦਾ ਕਰ ਲੈ, ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਹੈਪੀ ਹਾਂ ਹੁਣ, ਜੋ ਵੀ ਤੂੰ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਤੂੰ ਵਿਆਹ ਕਰਾਉਣਾ ਚਾਹਵੇਂਗਾ ਅਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਹੈਪੀ ਹਾਂ, ਤੂੰ ਕਰ ਲੈ।
I knew that in the event of a confrontation with my mum, the one thing she'd say is, if you knew what I'd been through, you wouldn't do this, which is the kind of universal cry of emotionally blackmailing mums across the world. So I thought, you know what, I'll find out exactly what you went through. I'll write a book about your life.
ਔਰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਮੈਂਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ, ਸਾਡੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਚੋਰੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਝੂਠ ਬੋਲਿਆ। ਸੱਚੀ ਲਾਈਫ ਆ, ਸੱਚੀ ਲਾਈਫ ਦਾ ਮੇਰੇ ਮੁੰਡੇ ਨੇ ਖੁਦ ਆਪ ਲਿਖੀ ਆ, ਉਹ ਵੀ ਸਟਰੋਂਗ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਉਹਨੇ ਲਿਖੀ, ਮਾਂ ਪਿਓ ਦਾ ਦੁੱਖ ਲਿਖਿਆ, ਸਟਰੋਂਗ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਲਿਖੀ ਆ, ਹਾਰਡ ਵਾ ਲਿਖਣੀ ਮਾਂ ਪਿਓ ਦੇ ਦੁੱਖ ਲਈ। ਅਸੀਂ ਹੈਪੀ ਹਾਂ, ਸਾਡੇ ਮੁੰਡੇ ਨੇ ਇੰਨਾ ਸੋਚਿਆ, ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਛ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਲਿਖੀ ਆ, ਹੈਪੀ ਹਾਂ। ਦੁੱਖ ਨੂੰ ਲੁਕੋ ਨਾ ਕਦੇ ਵੀ, ਦੁੱਖ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਨਾਲ ਦੱਸਾਂਗੇ ਮਨ ਅੰਦਰੋਂ ਹੌਲਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਦੁੱਖ ਨੂੰ ਜੇ ਲੁਕੋਈ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਹੋਰ ਵਧੀ ਜਾਂਦਾ।
1, 4 in a row. 2-0.
Where?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
In families, people have this incredible ability to avoid difficult subjects. Well, one of the things I discovered is that my sister and my father suffer from schizophrenia, and I think I was about 25 years old when I found out, and I literally found a letter in a suitcase which said, about my father, which said this man suffers from paranoid schizophrenia, and it struck me as a real shock. My mum went out of her way to protect me from the worst effects of their disease, and whenever something terrible happened, she made sure on a very basic level I wasn't around, so my childhood wasn't affected by any of that stuff. I spent my childhood lost in this kind of fog of cheesy 1980s pop music and had a really happy time, and I wanted the book to be a kind of tribute to my mum for enabling me to have that quite remarkable childhood in this quite bleak context of severe mental illness. feeling unhappy?
ਹਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਹੁਣ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਦਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਿਆਣੇ ਗੁੱਡ ਆ ਮੇਰੇ ਰਿਸਪੈਕਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਮੈਂ ਹੈਪੀ ਹਾਂ ਡੈਡੀ ਤੇਰਾ ਵੀ ਗੁੱਡ ਸੀਗਾ ਜਦ ਦੁੱਖ ਆ ਗਿਆ ਤਾਂ ਪਿਓ ਨੂੰ ਪਿਓ ਵੀ ਕੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ ਸੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਉਹ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਜਾਣ ਕੇ ਕਰਦਾ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਹੈਪੀ ਹਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਿਆਣੇ ਵੀ ਰਿਸਪੈਕਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਡੈਡੀ ਵੀ ਰਿਸਪੈਕਟ ਕਰਦਾ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਤੇ ਦੁੱਖ ਆਇਆ ਦੁੱਖ ਨੂੰ ਰਲ ਮਿਲ ਕੇ ਕੱਢਿਆ ਲੰਘ ਗਿਆ
Well, we're refurbing it, so it's in a right mess. Working it in the morning, as you can see.
So this is the old front room we used to have, which is so posh we couldn't actually sit in it. You know, you used to have the corner sofa untouched.
Yeah, it's like my mum's living room the same.
Blimey, this is crazy. I haven't been in 25 years.
Seriously?
Yeah, so my mum used to have a sewing machine there, and TV was up there, and we used to sit here. So this was my bedroom, which I weirdly shared with my parents until I was about 10, I think. It's pretty cramped. We had two double beds next to each other, and then for a birthday present I bought an Argos desk and had it there, and I had a map of the world next to a poster of Prince. And Mum used to complain that he looked like a ghost. No, he looked like a witch, and she wanted to take him down. I remember this cupboard as well. We used to put our food in here. Wagon wheels, lots of wagon wheels. I used to go up and down this alleyway on my bike about 20 times a day. And all these gardens were like really highly cultivated kind of mini Indian farms, you know, with like, you know, spinach and all these amazing vegetables. But now look at it. It's basically weeds. Is this our shed? Yeah, this used to be our shed, where we used to have our kittens, and our cats used to hang out there. Look, it looks so different though. Sad, isn't it? I don't know whether it's because I don't remember. I've idealised my childhood, or whether it has actually got rougher.
It's got rougher, without a doubt. Back in them days it was a bit easier, but you had the racist thing going on a bit, do you know what I mean? But other from that, you know, it's just totally changed in the last 5 or 6 years.
It's a shame because like, it has so many happy childhood memories for me.
Yeah.
And that was a sweet shop, and now it's like a crack den.
Yeah, now they sell different types
That's
of sweets to sell there now.
Again, I think the structure of the book kind of, again, just happened. It feels like my mum wrote a lot of it and created the book, in that she told me her story, and the way she told me her story shaped the book, because it alternates between the present and also my parents' past, my past and my present, and also alternates between London and the Midlands. And that's a dichotomy I've always had in my life, but now I think they're much more intermingled, and that was the whole point of the exercise really. I wanted to have a much more connected life. I think I need both things in my life to stay sane. I go for about 3 or 4 weeks in London before I need to go back to the Midlands, and equally I can only manage a week in the Midlands before I begin to go slightly insane. I need to come back. I think if I didn't have that to escape from and to, I'd be a very different person, but I think that defines me, the two different things.